I'm here to report a terrible crime. This one.
Welcome back to my channel. Harley here to bring you today's dose of madness. From Fox News Clips, they bring us this little gem. Mamdani blasts NYPD over encounter with man he says suffers from mental illness. Wonder if he's a doctor. How does he know this?
Relax, I'm a doctor.
It's amazing, right? Let's go ahead and jump into the video.
So, New York City Mayor Zohran is putting illegals ahead of New Yorkers. You're shocked. Signing a new executive order to solidify the city's sanctuary status.
Masked agents paid by our own tax dollars violate the Constitution and visit terror upon our neighbors. ICE is more than a rogue agency. It is a manifestation of the abuse of power. Right here in this moment, I shall sign an executive order that will uphold our city's protection not just of our fellow immigrant New Yorkers, but of all New Yorkers from abusive immigration enforcement.
Yeah, apparently he's not concerned about the presence of violent illegals in his city, such as the ones ICE has already arrested in the past year. But it's no surprise Mamdani is okay cozying up to criminals, because this week he visited a man who was shot by police after he threatened them with a knife.
Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Move! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
Question. How do you guys think that, because you know how the left wants to defund the police, right? So since they want to defund the police and they want to take away the protection that the normal humans, Americans, will have, right? So if we defund the police and we send in social workers, how do you think a social worker would handle a crazed lunatic like this wielding a knife? Now, do you think that, nothing will happen? They'll go and have tea kind of like this?
Go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
Or do you guys think that the person's not going to listen and it's just going to cause crazy mayhem and everybody's going to get injured like this?
I'm gonna find you!
I don't know, guys. I think that it would probably be the latter. Maybe, I want to say 100% sure that it'd probably be B. It'd be the second door. I don't think that social workers would be able to protect anybody, let alone themselves, from being injured in that type of situation. Because when you have a crazy person, it doesn't matter if they have mental issues or if they're having a drug-induced state or they're just crazy. They're just psychos. We don't know, but I don't think in any of those scenarios it would be a good thing. Nobody would be able to talk their way out of that. I'm just saying. That's just my thought. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment below. But let's keep going.
But Mamdani is blasting the police, saying police shouldn't have responded.
I spoke with the Chakraborty family and I visited Chavez in the hospital. And there is no family should have to endure this kind of pain. Chavez has lived with schizophrenia for many years. Chavez needs mental health treatment, not criminal prosecution by a district attorney.
Well, instead, Mamdani believes a mental health professional should have approached the knife-wielding man.
Maniac is imminent. Request advice.
With a firm tone of voice, demand maniac lie down with hands behind back.
Maniac has responded with a scornful remark.
Approach and repeat ultimatum in an even firmer tone of voice. Add the words, or else.
Lie down on the ground, or else.
Guy, how do you think that would have turned out? You just send a mental health professional in there, not the police. They're not used to this kind of thing. Send in a social worker for a knife-wielding man.
Unarmed.
Yeah.
See how that ends.
Yeah.
And I wonder...
So, spoilers ahead, in case you guys never watched this film, but this reminds me of the movie Demolition Man. Now, in that movie, you have Sylvester Stallone's character, who is a police officer. He's going after a criminal, which is Wesley Snipes. And Wesley Snipes sets him up to make him look like a bad guy, that he murked all these people when he didn't, because the people were already dead. So for Sylvester Stallone's character, he gets punished and he gets put on ice. So we kind of go years into the future now because he's been frozen this whole time. And so cops back now that they in this current timeline, they are not like real cops. They're more like social workers. So you'd get a bunch of these kind of guys.
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
So yeah, in the end, you end up having cops that are social workers that can't do their job. And it's like, I get it. There are situations where you might be able to send somebody in to probably talk down a person, but I don't think that that's going to be like 99% of the times. Okay, I maybe one, but the majority of the time it's not going to be like that. Now, can you maybe supply a police officer with a social worker so that if that doesn't work, the cop could still protect everybody? Maybe work it that way would probably be better than just sending a social worker in, because it's not going to work out well for anyone. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let's keep going.
Would Mamdani have then gone to both hospital rooms or potentially to a funeral at that point? I am blown away at the instincts of this mayor in this case. Watching that video, which is tough to watch and disturbing, I counted 6 times the officer instructed the person with the knife to put the knife down. 6 times. The officer actually retreated into a closet or another room, and this person came after him anyway. And then finally, after all those warnings, the shots rang out. And to then go in solidarity with the knife wielder who ignored those orders from the police, and to show up in that hospital room like he's the true victim in this, rather than the police officer who finally fired his weapon in self-defense, it says everything about this mayor of this town, what he sees as his worldview, who he sees as victims and aggressors, and I don't think the movie gets better from here.
I don't think so either. Always on the side of the perps, Joey. Yeah, he says we have an ice problem in New York City. We do have an ice problem. It's the ice and snow banked up all around the city that he's still been unable to remove. I think that's the real ice situation. But he's tripling down, I think it would be, on the sanctuary status of New York City, saying we're going to coddle those illegal aliens. Gosh darn it, if it's the last thing we do.
Yeah, he's screaming for attention is what he's doing. Why are you looking at Minneapolis? Why do they get all the fun? Look over here. Remember me? I'm the golden child. I'm the theater kid that got elected mayor. You're supposed to look at me. Not a lot else to say about that. We understand that New York City has sanctuary policies. We understand that the culture here is to coddle those that, just ended up on the wrong lot in life. And that's why they're armed robbery. That's why they're convicted of armed robbery. Cashless bail and other things that this city does. Back to the specific case that we talked about, this guy with a knife, that's where they really misunderstand law enforcement completely. See, Mamdani's position is, oh, he wasn't evil, he's just mentally deranged from a psychotic episode, so you shouldn't shoot him. And what they don't understand, what Mamdani doesn't understand, is police officers don't make judgments based on how evil somebody is when they pull their gun out and shoot. Because police officers are charged to protect even the evil ones and to try to preserve life. They're only allowed to use their weapon with deadly force when their life and other innocent lives are in danger, regardless of the motivations of the other person. That's how bad Democrats understand this. That officer did everything he could to not have to fire his weapon. In my opinion, gave that guy more chances than he had to, but I'm glad he did. And ultimately, he had to fire his weapon, not because the guy was threatening him with a knife. He charged him with a knife. It became that officer's life or the person with the knife. That doesn't mean the person with the knife is evil, but it does mean they were about to do an evil thing. And Democrats can't understand that. They don't understand that that level of discernment is necessary to put on a badge and even be a parking ticket meter maid that has an arm, that has a firearm. And for Mamdani to, take any position on this that would paint that police officer as doing anything but what you would teach in a course is malpractice for the position he holds. And I hope that someone holds him accountable for it. I remember when police officers turned their backs on city leaders here at the memorial. I hope something similar happens soon, because that's what he deserves.
Well, Lydia, it didn't take him long, right, to side with the agitator over law enforcement. I'm wondering how this plays out. This is very early on in his administration. I wouldn't give him, an A+ so far, certainly, but what do you make of it?
Unfortunately, I think this is a lot of what his base wants, and I think we're going to see a continued decline of people who are willing to tolerate it, people that did not vote for him continuing to leave. Anyone who watches that video has got to be asking themselves, this unfolded inside that person's home, but that could have very easily, you would imagine, been on the city streets, in a subway, where there are more people and there could have been more victims. And a lot of people are probably watching this feeling grateful that there was a police officer, not a social worker there to respond. Just to connect another dot here as well, just last week, there were reports that police officers showed up to a hospital for treatment.
Yep.
And they were treated with disrespect and in a rude fashion because they were suspected of being ICE officers instead. And hospital workers didn't want to engage with ICE that were coming to the hospital. The hospital actually had to turn around and apologize for being so awful to the police officers. But the mayor, in addition to just supporting police officers, they're also responsible for setting the tone of what conduct should be in this city. And it's a real shame that we don't have an expectation that we're going to show appreciation for people that are on the front lines of our city.
He's setting the tone all right.
Yeah. You got to wonder how long the police commissioner is going to tolerate that as well.
Tish, you're right.
She was one of the bright spots, and now,
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
So that's what we have in regards to Mamdani's New York, the utopia that they're trying to turn it into. You have trash everywhere. You have snow everywhere. It's just going into Escape from New York vibes at this point. Now, the funny thing about this is that personally, if I was Mamdani, I would not want to be in the news at all. Zero. Okay, you guys hear that? Zero is when I would want to be in the news. Knowing that my mom's name popped up in the Epstein files, I would steer clear from trying to make any type of news statement because I would wait till the dust settles and then kind of pop in, But no, this man doesn't care. He gives no F's, and I think this is just going to be a hot mess, which is why a lot of people are leaving. Now, the problem with that is that you're getting these same people that voted for this leaving to red areas who are going to vote this crap in, and they're going to just muck everything up for everybody because they didn't learn anything from their vote. I feel like if they voted for this, they should be stuck there. They should not be allowed to move and have to write it out because that's what they voted for. But that's just my thought. Now, when it comes to this whole situation with ICE and with law enforcement and everything that they're saying, it's funny to me because I start thinking about situations where you have these people complaining, okay, that, oh, we don't want ICE, we don't want, police or nothing like that. We didn't ask them to come here to save us or nothing like that. It's like that's literally a talking point you get from the left, is that they don't want any of it. They don't need their help. They don't need any of that. But then they turn around and they start policing themselves. And it's like, but you didn't want this, but you want that. Like, it doesn't make any sense because you're doing the exact same thing that we're paying the police to do. Like, what? So, yeah, I'm so sick of all these liberal people. Like, we need to re-educate these people, to be honest. But yeah, it's getting insane, and we haven't even hit the spring or summer, so wait for that to come because, man, it's just gonna be all hell breaking loose because we're gonna probably get a bunch of Summer of Love 3.0, 4.0, you have it. It's just gonna kind of go downhill from here. It could be that we're in the fourth turning, we could be doing 1984. Take your Orwellian pick. And you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Which Orwellian thing do you think we're going to be hit with? Like, which version? What do you think is going to happen to our country if we continue down this path? But I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you won't miss what comes next. Till next time, guys.